that don't want what we know out there.
How a person can go from really almost nothing to becoming a millionaire by owning rental properties.
He would always buy these flip houses, and I just remember thinking, this guy is crazy. Why would he buy that house?
In the past decade, there's been a huge surge in the peer-to-peer short-term rental market.
Become an insider. So you have to know the rules before you get in the game.
Every second counts. So make every second count.
Welcome to the Real Estate Jam. Whether you're just beginning or the best of the best, we're glad you're here. We will share successes, failures, and strategies for the action-taking real estate investor. And now to your hosts, JD and Melissa.
Hi guys, welcome to the Real Estate Jam podcast. I'm JD with my wonderful co-host isn't here today. Melissa's busy, so you just have me, but I am super excited about this. I'm, the talk and discussion all throughout the real estate gurus today is AI and ChatGPT and using it to respond to leads. We've even looked into AI cold calling and lead follow-up and all that kind of stuff. But today, and I was just telling Melissa this a couple of days ago, that you were running machine learning and AI type stuff before I ever heard about it in the news. So we're super excited to introduce Rob Badhorn. He's the CEO, founder of Lead Fusion. And Lead Fusion is, I don't want to just call it a skip tracing company. Rob, how would you describe Lead Fusion?
Yeah, I would call us a data company with a CRM, and we do AI on top of it, right? So we can do basically some automated lead gen.
Yeah.
But basically a data company.
Saying that your company is a skip tracer is like saying that I'm just a wholesaler, right? It is insulting at best. So,
well, that's where we started out, right? So that's not everybody starts from somewhere. We started as a skip tracing company. So that is absolutely true, but we've certainly evolved over the last 8 years now.
Right. So Rob, just for full disclosure, Rob and I were in a mastermind together for a few times. I think we were on the accountability group together a few times. So we do have a relationship outside of the podcasting world. But Rob, for those of my audience who maybe don't know you, what's your story? Let's let them get to know you a little bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I appreciate it. And thank you for, let me be on your podcast. A lot of great things happening. So again, I really appreciate it. And sorry, Melissa couldn't be here. I'll step in. I'll be happy to step in. But anyway, so I started about 10 years ago in real estate. And back then I was actually fixing and flipping here in Phoenix, Arizona. That's where I'm based. And then I started to actually kind of understand, exit strategies. People talk about exit strategies. So what are those? Well, if you can't wholesale the property or fix and flip it, can you at least keep it, in terms as a rental and so forth, then would it produce an income? And around Phoenix at that time, there wasn't a lot of great exit strategies. So I moved up to Toledo, Ohio, where I was born and raised, and started flipping houses there. Not a lot of buyers there. So I couldn't really even wholesale at that point. The MSA is really small. So from there, I said, okay, flipping is great, but that's kind of a job. Right? It creates a great income, sure, but it doesn't give us that passive income. So my whole goal after at that point was to create multiple streams of income. And so that's what we did. Took a couple hundred houses up in Toledo. We kept a lot of them or some of them for rental portfolio. And we're now actually investing in multifamily. So creating another kind of like third or fourth stream of income for us. So
sure, you're talking rentals, large multifamily there, like syndications and stuff like that.
Yeah, so right now I'm just passively investing in those, but definitely over the next year we'll be doing our own, multifamily. We want to get into that as well. So yeah, we build up an SFR, single family, non-commercial rental portfolio, which is going great. We self-manage it out of Phoenix, Arizona. We have someone up there, a lot of software out there to help you do that. And then we're into multifamily. We've been into whole life as well. And now I have a data company that we've, brought all along that whole time, and it's evolved in providing another stream of income. So multiple streams of income, is my goal for life here.
Sure. Okay. So, like I was talking about, well, one, I just established you have a ton of experience, probably one of the most knowledgeable guys I know when it comes to data and outside the box, inside the box thinking, right? Like
Yeah.
you're looking at it from all these different angles to come to a conclusion that fits right inside the box. So why don't we talk about that a little bit and what's the deal with this AI stuff? For somebody who's like tech stupid, it's hard to understand. I think I'm getting spun more up on it, but help me understand, one, how you guys are using AI over there at Lead Fusion, and then how are investors using it successfully?
Yeah, no, great question. And I think, like anything, we started out as a skip trace company and now a data company. We bring in 1,000 records per minute into our server. So a lot of data coming inbound. So once you see all that, you're like, okay, how do I manage this? So you have to become more efficient. And you can use AI in a lot of different ways. Number one is to become more efficient. So like on the Lead Fusion website, when you have a file and upload it into our website, we actually use AI to map it for you. So you don't even have to do that. Like you go to some other companies, you got to map and drag and drop, and that's just crazy. So we use AI to do that. So to become more efficient. The other side of it is to become more targeted, right? A lot of people do machine learn lists. We do as well. And what does that mean? Well, when you as an investor go to a list pulling service, you select certain filters and categories and so forth. Well, why do you do that? I'll throw it back at you, JD. Why do you do it?
Because I'm trying to look at the people who are most like, instead of just throwing a random dart at the map, I'm trying to find the most motivated people or the people that are most likely to sell and contact more of them. If I had an unlimited budget, I would market to every single person in the entire country. But because I don't, I want to put my dollars towards the most valuable marketing. So in my mind, I'm selecting those criteria to target not only what I want to buy, but the people I'm trying to buy from.
Yeah. So you're defining your buy box, right? I want a 3-bedroom at least, 1,000 square feet, here's the price range I want to deal with. So you're defining your buy box, but you're also defining motivation, right? I want someone that's lived in the house more than 7 years. I want an age group that's, 50 plus. I want absentee in some cases. I want high equity in others, so you do that because those people are more likely to sell than people not on the list, right? So you're betting the odds, right? That those people are more likely to sell. Well, in AI and machine learning, what that does is it looks at all of the data, right? It looks at the properties, where they're located. We actually have 3 databases. It has a property database, it has a people database, and we have an event database. And so we look at all 3 of those plus a whole bunch of other stuff. But what AI does in machine learning is it analyzes everything and it says, okay, well, those houses sold in the last 6 months or last year. Why did they sell? Okay. Well, let's look forward and apply those same characteristics. So that's what machine learning is. It's just basically saying, I'm going to pull a list with all these filters in your buy box. And because I know those are more likely to sell, what machine learning does is it finds hundreds of those lists, hundreds of those filters at the same time that we as humans really can't do. So we leave it up to machines, computers, to do it for us. That's the essence of machine learning.
Yeah, and I think that's great. One of the strategies that we've been doing for quite a while now, but it's a very slow process, is every time I see a deal go out from one of my competitors, I take that deal and I put it on a spreadsheet. And then there's a couple of things I do with it. One, I track it to see who bought it, to add those people to my buyers list. I track it to see if it sold, and if it didn't, then I remarket them. And then I also do what we call a proximity list, is I take like the 5 or 10 closest houses to that house and market to them. And that's really my attempt at manually doing some sort of thing like that. But I would,
awesome.
I would be interested in, if you took that list, because we know that they're somewhat motivated, they're wholesale properties, and fed that into some of these AI systems. If it could shoot out like, hey, here's the list you should pull. I think that's kind of a novel concept.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right, and that's basically what we do, right? We take in those houses because we tag them as being flipped, right? We have 157 million properties in our database, and we say, oh, these ones have been flipped. They were purchased for X, they were sold, a year later for Y, and there's the delta. And did they make money on those? Number one. Number two, okay, we tag them as a flipped property. So we track those as well. We take that into our account for our AI model.
Sure.
So exactly what you're doing is we suck that information into it as well. So that makes a ton of sense what you're doing, basically. And then you just, like you said, you look for comparable houses around in that area, in that market, and say, okay, I'm going to target to those. So you are definitely hedging your bets up to the next level.
Yeah, it's just birds of a feather flock together kind of mentality. And down here in Florida, we have a lot of storm damage. So if there's one house that we know sold for a discount and was storm damage, then the chances that people in that neighborhood also had some sort of problem is in my opinion greater than just random. Now, I am curious. Now, obviously, I don't need you to give me your secret sauce, but like, what are the different data points, generally speaking, that you guys are looking at? Are you looking at, okay, well, all of these homeowners, bought a walker within the last, 5 years, or assisted toilet seat ramps, or I don't know how data centric is these machine learning points.
Yeah, we can get in pretty deep. We don't buy the data for who bought walkers, but we do track people's age. How often have they moved? How long have they been in there? How many people are in the property? Are they empty nesters now? And there's other data in their demographics, right? Are they credit worthy, credit not worthy, type of thing, and apply that to a lot of the characteristics. There's other points of interest, like you had talked about, when it comes to the properties. What other properties have sold in that market, and why did they sell? Were they flipped? Whatever, was there storm damage? All of that gets taken into consideration. Then we have that people database of demographics, what's going on, with those people. Are they age, income, debt, credit, whatever, and whatever is legally capable as well. And then we have event data, right? So is there divorce going on? Is there, so we actually, when we sign up with someone for machine learning, we actually go right to the source, right to the county and the cities within there, and extract the data as best as possible, and actually do it on a daily basis. So if there's a new divorce or something that comes up, that's going to pop into our data set. And obviously that means that house is probably more likely to sell than anything else.
Sure.
So we have that event data, and then you have points of interest, census data. You have a lot of different things that kind of makes up the circle of data that gets sucked in. IP addresses, what people are, buying, where are they searching, that sort of thing.
So then if I'm using your service, are you giving me like a score, like 1 to 10? 10 is this person is motivated. We know that they're going to sell within the next 45 days. 1, this person's probably never going to sell for the next 20 years, or something like that. How does that work, and what's it look like?
Yeah, we basically score every 5K data set. So you can buy a 5K list from us, meaning the top 5K that are going to perform, all the way through 30K if you want. And we can do much larger lists if you want to, but every 5K gets a score, basically. And then on our data set, we are actually going to start including, right now we're tracking 35 different lead types, whether it's divorce, inheritance, pre-foreclosure, whatever. We'll start actually adding that into our data set. We are about to release our 3rd generation algorithm for machine learning. And then when we do that, we'll also include those data types that are in that record. So you have an idea of what you're walking into, right?
Right.
You know, if there's one record on there that's in pre-foreclosure, okay, you're going to attack those faster than
More
anything.
aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And a
So
lot of data companies don't do that. And
Yeah.
I think it's, and I'm not slamming anybody else. I'm just saying, I think you almost have to have it required so that you know how to deal with that lead. You know,
Right.
you have to deal, you know, with what's going on. So
well, I
there's
guess
a lot that goes into that machine learning.
one of my question is, what are you guys doing for one? Are you live in all 50 states and across the country? But specifically, what are you doing for the counties that have the rules against the public access stuff? I know a lot of stuff in Texas, Louisiana, where that data is harder to track down. What are you doing for those kind of places?
Yeah, good points. For those kind of places, there is a lot of public notice information that we pull, and again, we use AI to pull that data.
Yeah.
So we are very efficient when it comes to that. So we can pull probates, even though the data is not available. We know the probates going on. We have some algorithms that actually match all of that data to property ownership.
Sure.
Believe it or not, so we can get down very succinctly. So we do a lot of triangulation on those particular counties that we don't have a lot of data in, a lot of triangulation that gets us to a degree of, okay, likelihood that this is gonna sell.
Right. Yeah, that's
Great question.
That's pretty amazing. Now, I'm wondering if you have any insight on how, like, a beginning real estate investor can implement or benefit from AI in their business.
Yeah, I think, we talked about, becoming more efficient with AI. If you're creating marketing or whatever, you can use ChatGPT to create, some wording for your marketing. That's always, something that you can do. Like we had said, using AI to kind of keep your costs down, right? So you're not mailing 100,000 people, you're only mailing 5, 15, 30,000, people, or calling them or texting them or whatever,
Right.
you're doing. And then the other side of it is what we're now just starting to get into, which is AI cold calling, AI answer, and AI web chat.
Mhm.
So basically, you'll be able to take our technology, put it on your website with your knowledge base, with your learning, basically, because it learns over time, and be able to answer people 24/7. Right. So if you have an inbound call, instead of hiring a call center, you actually hire an AI answer from Lead Fusion, and you'll be able to answer those calls 24/7. Set up calendar appointments, gain motivation, understand if they're the owner, all the things that you can do kind of with a real person, you'll be able to do with AI
Right.
as well. I'm a heck of a lot more efficient, down the road as well.
Train a VA, then you can train the AI essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah. It's not exactly as simple as that, but we're going to make it as simple as that for you, right?
Right. For the end user.
Kind of like the Apple way. We just want it to work.
Yeah.
Bottom line, we want to get a list of FAQs, who you are, what is your business, what do you do? Do you wholesale? We'll set up a script associated with that and feed that into the AI, and it basically takes care of that for us. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've even seen some, demonstrations where they're like overcoming objections and able to do that kind of stuff, which is crazy. To be able to leverage that, and really, it's all about maximizing your income generating activities and pushing the other things that still have to be done off to either a virtual assistant or now an AI. And I think we're going to see a huge shift in the real estate market where it's still a people to people business.
Yep.
And it's always going to be that. But the people who are able to better leverage the technology are just going to continue to see themselves outpace the rest of the crowd. So
yeah, I agree. And again, like anything, it's just going to make you more efficient. You can be that one man band, and really, whether you're an investor, in wholesale, flipping and wholesaling, or real estate agent.
Yeah.
Right. These tools, you'll be able to use these for tools for that. Think about pool companies, right? I have a database. I know where every single pool company is. I can use this information to target people interested in new pool service.
Right.
Send a postcard to them. They call me, AI answers, and then I take their information and I send out a pool guy to go visit with them. So
yeah, I mean, it's just crazy how data works, and I always feel like real estate is usually a few years behind every other industry. But the more data, that's the reason why you get Facebook ads targeted to you that seem like they are, you were talking about something 2 days ago and now you're seeing it on your Facebook ad. It's because Facebook has all these different data points about you, and they know which things are more likely to capture your attention. And it's kind of the same thing with the machine learning and being able to store all that data.
Yep, I completely agree. Completely agree. It's we're at an age where a lot of things are going to change. With AI. So, and I think for the better, right? Obviously, we have to use it in the right ways too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of like the Wild West right now. Everybody's going out and creating all these new companies and doing all these things. And there's not a ton of legislation on how it's being used. You look at some of these AI, generators and deep fakes and all of that kind of stuff that you see on the news. People understand that it's probably not a good idea to make a video of somebody else's face saying something else or doing something else, but there's no law that says you can't do that, so all of that kind of stuff I'm sure will come around. How do you think that AI, speaking of laws, how do you think the AI cold calling will fall into the robocalling and all of that stuff?
It already has. In fact, the FCC already made an announcement basically saying that AI cold calling falls into robocalling.
Yeah.
So you have to be really careful on the use of it to make sure you have someone's what do you call it,
Permission or buy-in.
Yeah, basically to do it. So that's why, as an AI company, we're going to offer services where, people have, give you permission to call them, number one. Number two, answering, right? There's no law why you can't answer with an AI, person.
Well, and even calling them back, I think if they've contacted your company within the last 90 days, then you're allowed to call them back and that kind of stuff.
Exactly. So, you and I know that where do most of your deals come from?
Follow up,
bottom line. So having that ability to outbound call to follow up, having the ability to answer, with an AI person will significantly reduce, the costs associated with that. So yeah, absolutely. They've contacted you, boom, you have the ability to go out and contact them as long as they've given you permission. Obviously.
Sure. Of course. Yeah, I think that's good. So if I'm a brand new guy, there's plenty of AI programs out there to help you. Like there's one I've spoke about before, but the program's already written to pull all the for sale by owner phone numbers off of Zillow, and it's like $50 for 300 days worth of pulling these records or whatever it is. I don't know what the price is, but it's relatively cheap, and that saves you from having to search through and manually dial. You just put it in a spreadsheet, load it into your dialer, or click to call and go. There's little things like that. In our business, we had one of our virtual assistants write us a bot to pull some of the county data directly off the county website. That's been super beneficial. If we could figure out how to get the AI to do that, that's steps in the direction that we're going with our stuff. But I use it a lot. Ads, newsletters, everything you can think of. And I think you really got to train yourself to go to that. Just like, 30 years ago, you didn't hop on the computer and go to Google to figure out the answer to your question. The standard process was going to the encyclopedia or asking somebody that knew. And now everyone knows, just go to Google. And I think we got to train ourselves to use the AI for those kind of questions. And the more we do that, the more familiar we become with that process, and the more we'll be able to implement it into whatever industry, whatever business we're using. It's about retraining yourself how to find the answer. And I think that's been a huge tip for being able to implement these kind of things into your everyday business.
Exactly. Yeah. And exactly what you said, right? Hiring the VAs to doing, whatever. to pull those leads in, getting into the county data. That's exactly, I agree with you. You have to be more efficient in what you're doing. We offer a service. You can pull FSBOs for your county, loads it into our CRM. And then if you want to send export that, send a text message or postcard or whatever you want to do, cold call them, you can do that. On a daily basis, we'll send you leads. So yeah, you have to be more efficient when it comes down to this stuff. 100%, I agree.
Yeah. All right, Rob. Well, if our audience wants to find out more about Lead Fusion, more about what you guys are doing with machine learning, and all of that kind of stuff, where can we send them, and how can they find you?
Sure. No, 100%. I appreciate it, and thanks for the time on the call today. We'll put a link in the description, and basically, for those interested, I'm going to give you $80 worth of skip tracing services, list pulling services, however you want to use it. Basically, if you use the link, sign up, it'll put credits in your account, and you can use those credits however you want on the website. So a gift to you and your audience out there. Hopefully it can help out in any way, because like you, we've made it to a certain level. We want to give back, and I'm happy to give back to the people out there and try out our stuff. Right? We know we have great data.
Awesome. Well, Rob, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I think there's a ton of information and knowledge that you have, and I'm glad we got to share some of it with our audience today.
Yeah, same. I really appreciate JD, your audience and yourself. And sorry, Melissa couldn't make it today. Maybe next time when we have some other stuff to show off, we'll get them in here.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Rob, we'll see you later, bud.
All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Jam. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information, check out our website, therealestatejam.com, or find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The Real Estate Jam. If you have any questions, feel free to drop us an email at therealestatejam@gmail.com. See you next episode.